Welcome back to By the Drip. Today's episode is a little bit different. No guest, just me here in Calgary and Cole calling in from Panama. It's been a wild couple of months, and we wanted to sit down and actually unpack it all. The 2025 World Barista Championship in Milan, the 6-week training block in Japan, the lead up to the finals, and yes, the story of Cole drinking and paying for the world's most expensive coffee. All right, let's get into it.
What's up, man? I haven't seen you since Milan. That's right.
Back home, back in Calgary.
You've been
some notes on where I am. I'm hearing you write everything down. That's good. It's the first time you've ever taken notes.
That's not true.
Okay.
I just have a fidget. I got to play with something.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
How's life in Panama?
Yeah, good to be back. Nice to be here and getting back into a routine after we were away. I was away from here 3 months and kind of a month in Calgary, just over a month in Japan, and then a month kind of jumping around. And nice to be back out of a suitcase and settled into some routine. Been back on my morning runs, which is nice. Back on the workout grind and getting out of my fat boy summer and back into fit boy fall. I came up with that.
Yeah, you look like you put on a few LBs, so it's good to be back running.
Nice, thanks, man. Appreciate that. What's going on in Calgary?
You know what I did today? You'll never guess.
No.
I showed up at work on time.
Yeah, that's impressive. I was going to guess that you made an espresso for the first time since 2012.
Close, very close. So we had someone reach out regarding the podcast, wanting us to go in to Mount Royal University and talk about podcasting.
Okay.
And obviously you're not here, but I said yes. And so this morning I went down to we have two universities here in Calgary. So I went down to Mount Royal and I talked in front of 20 odd university students in their first year about us having our world famous podcast here. I was telling them it's much harder than you think it will be. And it'll take much longer for people to find out about it, but it's a lot of fun, and was giving my advice to the young. I guess it's like an elective course, so anyone can kind of take it. So it's about writing, and part of the section is about doing a podcast, and they have to write like a script for it. And I told them my journey through university, and I struggled and didn't know how to study and had a terrible GPA of 2.3 my first year, and I got it up to 3.4, and the woes of me in university, and told them about that, and then how we got into podcasting. So concluding with, she invited us back. She's like, I really wish your brother was here. I could only imagine that dynamic. And so we got invited back to do it.
There's no dynamic.
I know there's no dynamic.
There's no dynamic.
Anyways, that's what I did this morning. It was a lot of fun.
Cool. Did you record it?
No, I get very nervous about doing presentations. Mm-hmm. And I was a little worried I wasn't going to perform.
Okay.
So no, I didn't record it, but I did a great job. I have to give myself a pat on the back. They asked lots of questions, which helped a lot. That's all I need is a couple of questions. It relaxes me, and then it's easy sailing. At 9:30 in the morning, some of the students are not feeling it. There was one girl who was dozing off. But the rest seemed pretty engaged. So if I get 19 of 20, I thought, you know what, that's pretty good. It happens in most classes.
Yeah. I remember I was doing a presentation, and there was a guy asleep, an older guy. This was in Korea, and there's an older Korean gentleman asleep in the very front row, and he's collapsed asleep.
Yeah.
And at the end, I asked, "Does anybody have any questions?" And then I jokingly pointed to him and said, "Sir, do you have a question?" No question. Okay, we'll move on.
Back to sleep.
Back to sleep. Yeah, that's good. Good for you, man. Nice.
Yeah, thanks. So we got maybe one extra listener. I asked them, I was like, have any of you, because they got prepped, the week before, have any of you go check out our website or the YouTube channel? Just nothing. It's just tough. It's just tough out there. But I made a good joke. Okay, well, let's get into it, man. A lot has happened. I had that nice presentation, so maybe we can break that. No, I'm joking. We got a new World Barista Champion.
We do, yeah.
We got
Jack Simpson.
Jack Simpson. We've met Jack. Great lad. And why don't we recap what happened? Milan. All of the coffee community went to Milan. Big event there every 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, where do you want to start? You want to talk about just being in Milan, the energy, the feels?
Yeah,
you still emotional from it?
Man, I'm getting old. I'm getting all emotional these days. I was reminiscing the whole time leading up to it. It was, yeah.
Leading up to WBC or leading up to this podcast?
A bit of both, actually.
Okay.
Reconnecting with you, seeing you.
Yeah,
made me, reminisce a little bit, and then. Now let's go back to Japan. Why don't we? I don't think we want to give it all away because we're actually going to create another mini documentary series on this year. But why don't we talk about us going to Japan? Some of the training, a little snippet of the little reveal on what's to come, and then let's talk about the actual competition.
Yeah, cool. So our WBC journey started almost 2 years ago, right? It started in 2024, working with the Japanese team with Sarutehiko, and in 2024 we won the national championship in Japan with Hiroki Ito, the then Japanese barista champion, to compete in 2025. So we've had a very long path and long road with Hiroki and the fantastic Sarutehiko team, and that sort of concluded on this last leg with the two of us going to Japan in September and spending all of September there, and then leading into October in Milan. Is that where you want to start, or you want to go back further into the year?
No, I think let's give a quick 2-minute recap.
Yeah. Okay. So through the course of the year, Hiroki, we worked very close with Hiroki and his team. Hiroki came to Calgary. We went to Japan. Hiroki came to Panama. So kind of the 3 different places that we're living at the moment, the team members. And Hiroki came twice to Panama with the intention of sourcing coffees for the competition and then also for their business. We met him here. We met him in Tokyo twice through the span of the year, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and did some training there with a challenge that we knew there was going to be the Japanese championship right before the World Championship. And so we were prepping actually 2 different presentations at once. Plus Hiroki had some colleagues, Yuka and June, that were also competing in the Japanese championship. So lots of touch points, lots of frequency to the dialogue, and making sure that we were, prepped and ready and all that sort of stuff to tackle the nationals and then tackle the worlds as it went. Do you want to fill in any blanks there, Dave?
No, you're doing great, big guy. You haven't lost a step. You look a little bit older, but you haven't lost a step.
Appreciate that. So we got to Japan and we grind every day. Our big thing for anyone listening, if they think there's a secret sauce or anything like that, there's no secret sauce. Our secret sauce is just the consistency and commitment to doing it every day when we can make the schedule, abide by that. And so we took very seriously to this campaign, and we went every day, all day, working hours to build this Japanese presentation and then the presentation for Worlds starting in early September, and essentially went, I think, 50 days straight, more or less, with a few, like a travel day and, one day off in there. Barista competition it's tough, right? You get out what you put in, generally speaking. So the more time you kind of dedicate to it, the more you elevate your craft, the more you come across authentically and naturally when speaking on the stage, the more you figure out efficiencies, figure out better quality, figure out roast profiles, learn a coffee inside and out. Like, it takes time to master all of the different components, and who knows if we really do master it by the time it's all done. We just hope that we can get it to the highest percentile. And so Japan was about 3 weeks of Dave and I coaching 3 competitors in Japanese. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Still got it, baby.
Still got it. Choto, just a little choto.
A little bit.
So Dave and I don't speak Japanese, in case anybody is going, oh, wow, that's really impressive. We don't speak Japanese. So it's very challenging, actually. So we had to sort of navigate language while also having the ability to, use coffee as a language, that the bridge that kind of connected us with the Japanese team. And I don't know, what's your perspective, Dave, on coaching in a different language? It's obviously challenging, but how would you describe that as an experience?
Yeah, the team speaks English, but obviously the presentation's done in Japanese. So there's some things that you can use translators for, and you can figure out the speech, but sometimes what makes sense in one language doesn't in another. So that can be challenging. It is what it is. We had the 3 team members there that just are great people, and they have great resources and a whole litany of people that are like supporting. So it's not just us. And we really enjoyed going there. The team is very nice. I don't know. It can be a challenge at times because you don't quite know what's going on, but it's great.
What's the biggest takeaway? What's the number one thing that if somebody's listening and providing coaching or support services to somebody that doesn't primarily speak their language, how would you suggest to navigate that?
I was hoping you would tell me, man. I thought you had a couple of tips for me.
I actually just got an offer, and no, I'm kidding.
There's no clear, there is no right or wrong way to do barista comp. I think it's just as long as you can speak through the language of coffee, you can help and support, and you're a guiding force, not anything else. And there's no clear, this one thing is going to elevate it to the next level. There's enough technology out there that the translating isn't as hard as it used to be, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And then Apple just released their headphones like the week after we were done all the training there in Japanese. And now there is live, or in the moment, however they're describing it, in the moment translation from language A to language B. So that could be a really interesting door opener for coffee.
Yeah,
Coffee
and in the competition,
coaching. Yeah.
Right now, there's a translator at Worlds who, if you're speaking in a non-English language, would translate, and it's up to them to make those like last second calls on what's being said versus, I don't know how well they translate on through the headphones, but at least it would be a little more standardized.
There you go. So there's our pro tip: get the Apple AirPods.
And use buy the drip 20 to get $2 off.
That's right. Cut a quick promo video here, and yeah. So the Japanese championship was difficult. I don't know if we want to go into that. You want to stick to Worlds? Should we continue on the journey and talk about Worlds? Yeah. So we fast forward. We leave for Worlds, I think October 11th or 12th, somewhere in there. It's in Milan, so we fly to Milan. There are, I've got it open here, 51 competitors in the WBC. And it happens over technically 6 days this year. There's 4 days of actual competition, two days for the preliminary round, 1 day for the semifinals, 1 day for the finals. There's a day 0, which is like competitor meeting, and some people have some action and dial-in sessions and building your recipes on day 0. So that would be if you're competing early and on day 1. And then there was also the announcements happening the day after the finals, which was interesting this year. So essentially 24-hour time gap between the last finalist completing and the announcements actually happening. So kind of interesting. What did you think about that?
I actually liked the announcements being on a separate day because I'm so physically wrecked, at the end of the day, and then you have the announcements and you like, I have my heart rate and it's just through the roof during the presentation. And then you wait 6 hours and then it goes, your heart rate gets jacked again for the announcements. So there was kind of this, you could watch everyone, okay, we're all done, come back the next day. That was nice. But I could feel, for the competitors, I think it's tough because you're, all night you're thinking, oh, did I do this? Did I didn't do this? What place am I going to be? It doesn't just kind of end. It drags it out one more day. So I can see both being, I don't know if you agree or disagree, but both ways work.
Yeah, I really liked it. I mean, we've been in the finals a handful of times now, maybe 5 times in WBC, and to go from stage, you get there very early. Like this year, I think we were there at 7:30 or something like that. We were the first competitor on the books, maybe 7 a.m. I don't quite remember what time we got there. So we're the early slot to go in and taste. We're done by, I don't know, noon. Were we done by noon or something? And then on a normal schedule, we would have to wait or decide, are we going to stay and wait 5 or 6 hours until the announcement, or are we going to leave and come back? And this gave us the ability to just say, okay, we can do whatever we want to do. And so we left. We watched everybody else's videos from, wherever we were. We went for dinner. We went out and did some stuff. We were able to watch videos and support people while those videos are getting released onto YouTube or Instagram or whatever. And we got a full night's sleep. We got to have a team dinner and celebrate, what a journey, celebrate whatever happens, and then have that sort of anxious period. Yeah. But also a lot of time to actually stop and say thank you to the people that made it all happen and celebrate the competitor and the team and then get wrecked by the results the next day,
Yeah, I think both ways work well. There's plus and minuses, and be interesting to see what happens next year. I think it's also based on what's happening at the venue.
It was based on the show. It was a 5-day show. They had to ideally fill that stage time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go. Hiroki makes it into finals. There's a few, we got a few little clips out there. We get pretty fired up about him making finals. It was a long journey to get there.
Mm-hmm.
We won't go into it now, but he was quite sick before WBC, so there was a time that he wasn't able to practice, and we were quite worried about his health. But that got fixed up, and he's doing well now. So we make it into the finals. The announcements happen. How do you want to break this down? One by one?
Do you want to go to the first round? Should we go to the first round and talk about the live scoring?
Sure. Sure, the viewers are dropping off, but no problem. We can go backwards. No problem.
Well, isn't
live
that the
scoring.
beginning? That's the beginning of the competition, and then we go to the finals, right?
Okay, live scoring is what we got. Explain it, and then what's going on with it? Is it good? Is it bad?
It's a bit of both. The live scoring is this year's two categories. It was the espresso category, and it was the overall barista evaluation category, which is attention to detail and coffee knowledge and professionalism, if I'm not mistaken. I think those are the three elements in that category, and then the espresso category. And so we don't get to see scores, we just get to see rankings. And if your name's on both of those rankings, you're feeling pretty good that you're going through into the semifinals. And if your name is on one, you're stressing. If your name's not on either, your odds are unlikely. So some people think their road or their journey has come to an end. Others are overly confident. And then some, like ourselves, are anxiously checking and updating the live scoring
Way too much.
every 3 minutes. And watching our names fall down and fall down and fall down and fall off, at least on the espresso side. We held the barista evaluation. I think we were third, maybe. But on espresso, we watched our name fall off on the first day out of 10. Do I have that right?
Yeah, we were fourth at the end on barista evaluation, and yeah, we didn't see our name on espresso. And they show the top 10 in a list.
Which that was really stressful, right? To think we're not the top 10 espresso after the first day of round one, and there's 2 full rounds. We're definitely stressed that something missed on the espresso, and that probably drags into the other courses as well. And who knows, we might not be going on to the next round. Sure enough, the announcements come for the semifinals, and I think we're 14 or 15 names in. I think we got to
14th. Hiroki got called. Yeah,
14th. Hiroki gets called. He's through to the semis. Whoa! Looking at the rankings, Hiroki was 7th place in the first round. 9th place, pardon me, in the first round. Tied for 8th with Canada. Tied for 8th with Canada, and we get called into the semifinals. Hiroki is the 7th competitor, I remember, to go that semifinals day. And then he's the first name that gets called into the finals.
That was
which was
nice.
Very nice. So nice. So nice. And just every day got better. So the live rankings, something powerful about the live rankings is it gives you a little bit of insight as competitors that go on to the next round. Gives you a little bit of insight into potentially what to improve, right? For us, we make it through, but our espresso is not on the top 10, and we think we're probably 25th, right? We're watching new names as we're refreshing. Immediately, we know the next day that we need to improve our espresso. Are we using a different roast? Are we using a different recipe for this washed geisha? Are we using a totally different approach? How are we going to make our espresso go from whatever it was yesterday
Also,
to
did the dial hit?
Fantastic today. Yeah, did the dial.
His shot times were very quick. So I can't remember what we were trying to hit, but we had 21.5 grams in, 50 grams out or 52 grams out. And we were trying to hit 23, 24 seconds. And I think, don't quote me, but I think in the first round he was 20 seconds. So the shots were very fast, or much faster than we wanted. So probably leading to unbalanced flavors, a little more acidity than we wanted in the cup. And that just sometimes happens. And so we knew it was our espressos weren't on spec and perfect, and not seeing it in the top 10 kind of aligned. What is hard with the live ranking is if you do hit spec and then you're not in the top 10 or you don't know,
right.
That's worse, because then you're thinking, well, I dialed the coffee correctly and it's not scoring well. That's when it's a real worry. Obviously, if you're not in the top 10, it's still a worry regardless, but so we had, okay, I wasn't on spec. That's okay. We know we have to improve it and get it on spec. So you make sure that in the semifinals, we made sure he would hit the right numbers.
Yeah, and we did, and we saw the espresso score go up. I think actually the semifinals had the highest score for us for the espresso course. And looking at the scoring right now, not for overall score, just for the espresso course. But I think we were right around 4.5 all the way for espresso in the semifinals, and then maybe 4.5s in the final. So quite the roller coaster ride. Grateful to have been in the finals, with Hiroki getting out of the hospital maybe 12 or 14 days prior to the finals, not prior to WBC, prior to the finals, which is, quite wild to consider. And that's something we'll talk about in future content here on By the Drip. Dave, what are our takeaways? What are our learnings from this journey?
Yeah, I think overarching, looking and watching, on finals, Hiroki was first to go. So it was really nice as we got to, at least I watched all the other competitors, because you usually don't get to do that. And I think a lot of great storytelling this year, a little more emotion, not nearly as technical or on the extreme fermentation details or information that's not as digestible, especially for the general public.
Right, you're talking hard coffee fact.
Yeah. And
we 18 hours fermented in this bioreactor at 16 Celsius. And then I took it out and I had a shaman do a quick blessing, and then we put it back in. And yeah.
Which I think the storytelling aspect, we've always been in that realm, and for a long time that was not rewarded. And now we're seeing more creativity around that, which is great. Jack's presentation, I saw bits of it in the first round, and immediately I thought it was his best presentation from all his WBCs. I thought it was the best.
Yep.
He just was very, very composed, great storytelling, brought a little bit of technology in, was able to explain what's going on at the farms, weave it all through his story, had some great, journal props. He really took people, I think, the judges on a journey, which is a really nice aspect. That's what judges want.
I think his presentation too was really nice, that it, Jack kind of built off of what he had done the previous years, right? When he came third, he took some of those elements into his presentation. When he came second, he took those elements into his presentation when he came first. And then in this presentation this year, you can see that chronological progress and growth that he's had as a competitor, as a barista, and the people around him have also lifted. It's great, fantastic.
Yeah, and he's going to be, I think, great for the industry. I know he doesn't really love to fly. Hopefully, hopefully he can get over that. But we got to get him on the podcast. Would love kind of break down the routine with him. Hear what's next for him. And like you said, his journey from 3-2 to 1 and his storytelling each year kind of built upon each one. And Jack's a great guy and worked very hard as a professional on stage, as a professional off stage. He's a beast. So excited for him.
Yeah, should we go absolutely.
Second place.
Yeah, second place, Simon. Representing China, Simon Sun Lei. Yeah, what do you think of Simon's presentation?
Same thing. He balanced. He had a little more technical. He's got the kind of environmental side, using 2 different coffees. He's kind of got that oxygen,
chamber or whatever that was.
Yeah. Interesting. I would be interested to try some espresso out of that. Simon has been competing for a while. He's been waiting for a while too. I think he won in 2022. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, maybe 22 or 23.
And so he's been grinding away. Best finish for China. He's a great guy.
He's I think he's the first Chinese competitor to get to the semifinals. I don't think China has ever been in the semis in the Barista Championship.
No, I didn't know that.
I think so. For sure the first Chinese finalist, possibly the first Chinese semifinalist.
So I think tough, second is like, you're very proud. You're right there.
Yeah.
He's slightly disappointed because he knows how close he is.
Yeah. It's 15 points. I got the scores open here.
Yeah. So, Simon's got to talk to Jack. Jack came second and by 1 point.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not talking. I don't know. But no, I think Simon will be back. He's a very, very good presenter. He's got some cool ideas. He's just got to run it back one more time or 2 more times, and he'll be there.
I think he is. I've chatted with him a little bit, and I think he is.
Yeah, we try to encourage everyone to come back. It's so tough in the moment when it's like you don't quite get the placing you want or the results you want, but you got to keep going because you learn every time, you improve every time. It becomes not easier, but more understandable as time goes on.
Yeah, you're also second in the world against 51 other nations that have competed in their nationals to represent the country and go on to the worlds, right? You're an incredible result at just being in the World Championship.
And all those baristas, like thousands of baristas that have competed.
Yeah, exactly. Thousands, hundreds of thousands, man. Hundreds of thousands.
Millions.
So speaking of competitors that are coming back, third place, we've got Benjamin Putt from Canada.
Ben just keeps
the king of the comeback. The king of the comeback. If you haven't listened to it already, Dave and Ben did a great podcast episode that recently released, and it's a ton of fun. They're goofy, the two of them chatting and a lot of stuff, and very educational. I just watched it the other day. Very educational and nice conversation. So I checked that out. Quick plug.
Wow, that's the first one you've ever watched, eh?
It might be, yeah.
Well, only takes Ben.
It only takes Ben, yeah.
I thought Ben could be in the running to win the whole thing. He's been 7-time Canadian champ. He's been competing on and off, I think, 12 years. A legend in his own right.
I think more than 12, man.
I'm trying to keep us a little bit younger,
Oh, okay. I think it's like 15, no? It's got to be longer.
12, 20. Yeah, remember he retired for a little bit, so you don't count those years. And I don't know, Ben. Put it in the notes below. I know you listen, so put it in the notes below how many years he couldn't figure out. He learned latte art through newspaper. Okay, so it's been a long time. I thought his presentation was great. He had this new kind of like version that was like maybe controversial. I'm not quite sure, of the milk beverage. So he froze the base of it. He steamed it quickly because you have a rule that you must steam the beverage, and then he froze it in the bottom of each cup. And so they would take a sip when it was the steamed milk on top, and then he had these like auto stirs, and then they would taste it again. So Ben's always innovating on something. Ben's always got the technology piece. Remember, I watched all of his old videos that I could find, and it's, he's got the vac seal to remove the carbonic acid or whatever, and he's got the electrodes in the espresso. He's always trying to push the limit of how we consume coffee. I'm not much of a tech bro, so like half the science kind of just like goes over my head, but I'm just joking, Ben. I'm a total tech bro.
I think
what did you think?
I think in your conversation with him, he mentioned something along the lines of he wants to create a new drinking experience every time he's on stage. Right? I'm paraphrasing that a little bit, but he pointed out that he always wants to bring a new way of drinking coffee or a new way to experience a coffee beverage onto stage. I thought his presentation was nice. The whole mentorship.
Just nice, eh?
No, I had to pause to think where to start. The mentorship piece was nice, and kind of shouting out the 3 different producers whose coffee he used, and then he's got a few other people that kind of overlay, and then it's the image, the silhouette of him with all these other people kind of make up who he is. I think there's lots of power in that presentation, and new experiences across the board with how the beverages were consumed. And he was a touch shaky in the finals. He went a little bit over time, and I remember him commenting on it after he was done. But I think his presentation, his run, was fantastic. I would have loved to have tried the coffee. I didn't get to try the geisha blend that he used for espresso, but I think that would be quite nice to get to experience.
Yeah. Fourth, who's running us out on fourth?
We got Jason Liu from Malaysia. This is the first Malaysian competitor to ever make the finals. And I thought Jason's presentation was great. He was the very first competitor on the first day. And actually, I think he had the early slot every day. I think he was first, and then maybe second to compete, if I'm not mistaken. He did a presentation about introvert, extrovert, and sort of dual, navigating both personality styles, and how he can not manage it through coffee, but how that can reflect through coffee. And then I used the Panama Geisha from Pocho at Neguo, and then I used the Malaysian Liberica from My Liberica in Malaysian Liberica. That was already said. And sort of balance the dualities of the two coffees, and how one kind of relates to him as an introvert and one relates to him as an extrovert. And it was kind of a, fun sort of back and forth between those two elements. His beverages scored very high. I was told his signature beverage for a lot of judges was the best beverage they've ever tasted. And he just had this like unbelievable sig. I don't quite remember the build, but yeah, and he was high ranking every day. He was fourth, second, fourth, according to the rankings here.
Yeah, and a great team. I think they said they were prepared to make the finals. I was chatting with them in the back, and I think they'd be okay of me sharing this, but it reminded me very much of the first time you made finals in 2018. Is not everything was like fully prepped, and we didn't quite have enough of everything. It's 5 days of like competition. You need to make sure you have enough ingredients for everything. You have enough milk. You have enough coffee. Even if it's like a far outside chance of making it, you wanna mentally and physically prepare for that. And they just said he was getting up at 4 a.m. to like dethaw the milk, and that's just not. He did amazing, but now they've learned that, and that's a good lesson,
right?
To the next time they go to WBC, that okay, we're gonna be ready to run this 5-day marathon.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You need to strategize all that sort of stuff. For us, coffee logistics was tough, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of logistics that go on behind the scenes that the team, ideally your team's kind of taking care of. And a lot of competitors don't want to give that up, or might not have the support or whatever, or they have to oversee something. And while you're there, you really want to just focus on the coffee and the presentation, and not have to be getting up at 2:30 in the morning to thaw milk and et cetera, et cetera.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of coffee logistics, I still have some coffee from the championship, and I guess we're a month already since the championship happened, just about a month. And I think some of the brews I'm having of our coffee are the best I've tasted them now.
Well, don't be saying that. Don't be saying that.
No, I'm saying it because you think you've got the formula figured out, or you think you've got it all cracked, and it's like, maybe we should have let the coffee rest longer, and it would have opened up a bit more. I don't know. Could also just be the different environment and casual nature that I'm drinking it, rather than the more uptight and stuffy nature of competition. But
all right, number one in our hearts, 5th in the ranking,
Hiroki Ito.
You
go for it.
Go? Why don't you go?
You go.
Emotional.
I just it.
No, I'm so proud of him. He worked so hard in such a short amount of time, and I can't wait to see him back in comp for Japan next year. He's just, a lot of things went on, and we didn't know if we were like going to go to Worlds, and just his work ethic, the whole team at Hiko, also just everyone's just so caring. Just we can't speak highly enough of everyone stepping up and doing like their part, supporting all the way through. That I can't wait for him to get back. He was, fifth making finals was like, we didn't know if everything hit. We knew we would make finals. We thought everything in the semifinals did hit. The last round, he finally, we're kind of giving him a hard time during, the first round and semifinals. He didn't quite get the whole presentation done. He's got a very nice, ending to his speech. And then in the final rounds, we told him, you got to get the full speech, and you got to say it under 15 minutes. And he just went out there. He was the first to go on finals, and he just crushed it. Like, the speech, the presentation was flawless. And I think maybe I'm going ahead too much, but so many people came up right after that and said, wow, unbelievable. Like, good or bad saying it, they're like, that's such an amazing presentation. If the coffee hits, he could be, the champion. And so obviously when he has people telling him that can, skew what results you want to have. But I think I'm very proud of what we got to, and to think 2.5 weeks beforehand to even get to the finals seemed like such a far spot from where we were. And he should be very proud. The team should be very proud. But what do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was first on the docket to go for the day, and he just absolutely energy bombed the place. And I think if anything, he probably motivated the rest of the competitors. They could probably feel how much he brought to the stage as that first competitor, and they all likely knew that they had to step up, seeing him, lead in with that sort of presentation where the whole crowd was, moved and buzzing and tingly, and it was amazing. Like incredible start to the finals, the first perfect presentation that he put out there, or as close to perfect as we ever saw. I remembered shortly after the presentation, I was chatting with Sarah from Barista Magazine, and she was just like emotional about it. And she made some comment that he seemed so genuine. She's never met him before, but she said he just seemed so genuine, and she really made this caring comment. And I sort of asked what makes it feel genuine. And she slides to a photo that she took on her phone where he's smiling full smile at the espresso machine with the judges behind him. And she's like, it was in this moment that I realized he was genuinely happy to be on stage and genuinely happy making coffee. And I was like, wow, that's, very nice. And super, super proud of him. Just like you mentioned, super proud of him. Presentation is, for me, and this obviously comes with bias, being part of the build of the presentation, I think it's my favorite WBC presentation possibly ever.
Oh, wow.
It's just like, it's so simple in its execution, and there's little in terms of stage. It's all creative in terms of stage, but not a ton of props or big expensive tools or anything like that. Like, it's really an anyone's presentation. It's a low budget stage is what I mean by that. For $200 you could put that together. I suppose for ceramics more than that, but tools, etc. But for the stage itself, very low budget, very accessible, very entry level for anyone with a creative mind. So I love that simplicity about it. And then I just found that everything wove in so nicely, from his journey to talking about the 25th anniversary of WBC and the inspiration that's come from that, and sort of this pursuit of the ultimate cup, and tying that all back into the coffee. I think super proud of Hiroki, and that presentation will live on in my mind as one of my favorites of all time, for sure.
That's nice. I like that.
I told Boram maybe in the I told Boram in the semifinals, I think, that if Hiroki competed in the same year as him, that Boram wouldn't have won.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very, very insulting. Very nice.
Which is probably a jinx that I put onto us in the finals.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
you
kidding.
hexed us.
Yeah.
Good one.
And so rounding out sixth place, we have Denmark in the finals, Christopher Sayun Hoff.
Nice.
Dave, what do you think about Christopher's presentation? The only competitor to not use a Panamanian coffee in the finals.
Yeah, well, so a bit of a sleeper, I think. There's maybe 2 or 3 kind of sleepers. We got the vets, and then, there's probably a dozen people that could be under, maybe make the finals. I think people weren't quite expecting Christopher to be there, which is great. I think it's his first time being at WBC. He had a very nice presentation. It's a lot around like mindfulness. He's very calm, very present. He seemed obviously very excited to be in the finals. I chatted with the team in the back for a few minutes, and the coffee, they said, on day or semifinals day was was hitting big, and they said, the weight's off the shoulders. They can go out and do anything. I don't know if something happened because the score.
There's a score gap. Yeah.
There's a bit of a score gap. I didn't notice anything on stage while watching the presentation, but seemed in control of everything. Very, very calming, sweet presentation. Yeah. Happy for him. It would be interesting though to talk if there was something maybe went wrong with the dial or something, but
yeah, I'd be curious because his score from semifinals to finals goes down 127 points. So I would assume something went wrong. The only competitor to not use a Panamanian coffee, he used a Whoosh Whoosh from Colombia. I've got a bag here that I've been drinking that's super nice. Natural Whoosh Whoosh, kind of bigger texture, sweet, nice kind of purple red flavors for me, and super nice. It's actually the only coffee from a finalist that I got a little bit of. Oh. I gotta be nicer backstage, I guess, and do more wheeling and dealing.
You're chatting too much. You're always chatting with everyone back there.
You would think I would get a bag of coffee if I'm chatting all the time.
Yeah, but you're not focusing on the right things. You're just chatting about whatever. You gotta just ask, man. Just ask direct.
Next time. Next time.
Next year. Next time.
Yeah. Are there any other presentations you want to talk about?
So I think it's Ben and I quickly chatted about this. I think it's really important to watch not just the top 6. Some of the best presentations actually go on further down in the ranking.
Yeah.
A few top of mind standouts for me. Obviously, Jenny, she came 7th from Mexico. She has a very nice presentation. I think something interesting. I can't remember his name, from Brazil. He had a real interesting take on the milk beverage that you probably want to talk about.
Yeah, Emerson Nascimento. Yeah, I would talk about his milk beverage. I thought that was really innovative. He, if I remember correctly, he serves his milk beverage in a short glass, gets them to evaluate the latte art, and then he takes that poured milk beverage and pours it into hyperchiller.
Okay.
And leaves it in the hyperchiller for some amount of time. I think he serves a course and then comes back to it, or preps the next course and then comes back to the hyperchillers, and then essentially serves a cold milk beverage. It's been heated and steamed and poured with latte art and has texture and all that sort of stuff. And then he chills, serves, and they evaluate, which, maybe doesn't sound revolutionary or game changing or anything like that, but it's kind of the first look into a changed perspective or innovation in the milk category, where temperature is no longer a defined feature. And that's been maybe 2 or 3 years in the rule, that all it says is you have to steam your milk. It doesn't say to a specific temperature. And this is where it becomes really interesting in coffee competitions, is you can kind of work around the language of the rules and regulations, right? You can kind of look at the rules and say, okay, there's a little bit of room here to push. It's still within the verbiage, and in this case, he brought a cold milk beverage to stage, which is a whole different drinking experience than anybody else. I'd love to know the feedback he got on that beverage, and whether the judges destroyed him for being the first of his kind to innovate and sort of do that, or maybe the judges loved it. He ranked out 19th, so he was just barely off of being in the semifinals. But I thought that was definitely fascinating. I think it was nice to see India make the semifinals. It was the first time India has been in the semifinals since one of the first few years of the WBC. I don't remember, but 20 plus years since India's been in the finals. So that was a nice sleeper pick, as you described earlier. There's lots of great competitors here. I mean, looking up and down the rankings list. Nice to see Spain back in the competition, our first Spanish competitor for, I think, 5 or 6 years. Marcos also competed in Boston. I think that might have been the last time Spain was in the championship, so 6 years ago. And I guess we can do a little bit of foreshadowing here, Dave. We are planning to go through all the competition presentations and do some commentary and kind of unpack the different elements that people are bringing to stage and sort of celebrate each of the individual competitors and dive backward through the entirety of the competition, because just as you said, or as you and Ben conversed about, it's not just the top 6 that have incredible presentations. It's, all the way through, and would be, I think, really great to play back and watch and support and cheer for some of the people, for all of the people, all the way through the presentation.
Yeah, so much time and energy goes in that some little thing can happen on stage, and it feels like it could be all this energy's gone to nothing. But I think if we go back and watch those, and everyone who's listening should watch a lot of the presentations and see that there's value in all of them, and there's something to learn.
Right.
I think one last one I want to shout out is I hope I'm saying his name right, Ibrahim from Uganda.
Oh yeah.
He ended up scoring very well on the barista evaluation. He was really hoping he would make it through to semis. Unfortunately, he didn't quite make it, but he's reached out a few times for little tips and tricks, and he was always willing. I jumped on a call with him for 10, 20 minutes, and just a great guy. And excited. Hopefully he comes back again and can make it through to, now he's been on the big stage, and take that knowledge and get back there again and get to the semis and get to the finals. So
absolutely.
Yeah, there's lots of just like fun little stories like that people don't always know about or get to reveal. And so hopefully through some of the comp breakdowns we're going to do here in the near future, we can, and through the podcast interviews, bring light to those stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, scrolling up and down this score sheet, there's so many names that are familiar to past competitions, and it's so nice to see competitors continuing to pursue, the dream of being World Barista Champion, or being, whatever ranking they set out as in their goals. And 2025, this 25 years of it, and every year gets harder and harder and harder, it seems, as people put in more time and energy and resources and better understand the game. And what an exciting time in the world of coffee sports to be involved and get to put it all on the line and pour your passion out on stage.
It's funny, in the university class today, they kind of asked me, what is the World Barista Champion? And I'm explaining it a little bit. And then they're like, you travel for this? Like who's doing this stuff? And I was like, yeah, there's people all around the world that this is a dream for them to win this thing. It's a dream for them to be a part of it. It's a small community, but very passionate. And I think I always say, if you talked to us 5 or 10 years ago, like that we would have the ability to, this is a bit of, and a part of our career to do this, we just would have never believed that was possible. And now it is. So hopefully that we're building up the next generation.
Yeah.
Cool. You're getting emotional in this part here. Actually, is the background AI? What's going on there?
It's a green screen. Yeah.
Okay, so WBC wraps up. Let's move on. We're already an hour into this, and we said this would only be 45 minutes. So,
Okay. What do you want to move on to?
Whatever you want. Now, you got any last things about competition? What's going next? What happened? Anything else?
Yeah, what else is going on? So next World Championship for Barista is October 2026. It's happening in Panama City, Panama. And so it's an exciting time. Some people have already clinched their spot as the national competitor, the national champion that will compete and represent for their country. There's probably, 5 to 10 champions that have already kind of booked their ticket, if you will. So we're going to see national championships happening all around the world, kind of, in a random litany of weekends. Like Australia is coming up here, and
that's right. Yeah,
it's coming up a couple of days. So lots of exciting competition action around the corner as we close out 2025 and head into 2026. Never really a dull moment in the world of coffee competitions. It seems there's something on basically every weekend at this point, which makes sense when you have 51 national champions.
Yeah, it's gotta
have at least 51 national championships.
Okay, something just dawned on me, big guy. Our predictions, 2025. One of your predictions, man. Yeah, I got two I'm going to grill you about. One was a Canadian champion. Third. Canada got to third in the last competition here, but we didn't quite crack it. So another year, Canada, no championships. And then Ibrick, man.
And for listeners, that's zero. Canada has never won a world championship.
Yeah, in any of the competitions.
Yeah.
So maybe the dry spell can end next year. We got to get Canada right back to the top again.
Got to do it.
Next,
Ibrick.
I'm at home. I was on the road. I've seen 0 Ibricks anywhere.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well, chalk a couple up for me. No Ibricks.
It's really too bad. I've got one here. I use it every now and then. I run out of butane and forget to get the butane refilled. But it makes such a great cup. Like, it makes such a great cup when you get it kind of honed in and the recipe set and all that sort of stuff. It's just,
you know what?
So expressive.
You could do brewers, and you do Ibrick. There's the crossover we need.
I don't think it would make the amount needed unless I do a giant Ibrick.
Yeah, you do the big Ibrick.
Listen, I'm doing brewers and I'm using siphons. Siphons are 2026. That's my prediction.
Okay, let's transition. Let's wrap this up. Okay, we did the Panama party. That was lots of fun in Milan.
Yeah.
And then
that was a great time.
Hey man, I'm still talking.
Well, you paused really long. I thought that was the time for me to come in and say something. Go ahead.
You did Panama party in Milan, and then a couple of weeks later, you fired up a Panama party in Dubai, and you bought a really expensive coffee. So I gotta hear about that experience.
Yeah, so Panama Party is a little event that Forward has been doing for a couple of years now, and the idea is in conjunction with a global trade show, ideally the day before or the day after the show, just a sort of pop-up bar takeover type of event, and put on a wonderful menu of like top coffees. In this case, it was coffees we were considering for the competition. Put these coffees on a menu, make them accessible and servable to the world, and have some fun stuff going on around that. Nice music, good vibes, good energy. So we did one in Milan, ton of fun, and then I got invited to do one in Dubai about a week later, and it was a sort of momentum builder going into the launch of the Best of Panama Geisha Washed 01 that went for $30,000 a kilo earlier in the year. And so on October 31st, I did this event. I hosted a cupping after that. We cupped 8 coffees, one of them being the BOP Geisha Wash #1. Another one was the BOP Varietal #1, which I had with me. I bought some of that and cupped these 8 coffees. The next day, the Geisha Wash released, and I was the first in line to buy a cup for $1,000.
What was the final price tag?
It was 3,600 dirham, which is 960 US. Okay. And then I tipped to get it over 1,000. I added a tip to get it over $1,000 because psychologically, you
did a $40 tip, eh?
I guess so. I made it 3,777 dirham.
So whatever the math is. So you spent $1,000+ on one cup of coffee that sold for, the green coffee sold for $30,000 US a kilo.
Correct.
And you were the very first person to buy it in the world?
Correct.
Are you the only person who's ever bought it in the world who's dumb enough? I'm just joking.
No, I've been told, we've continued the conversation. I've been told that it's selling. They kind of are selling one a day sort of thing, and it's moving. It's exciting.
Okay. So you get this cup of coffee. I saw the photo. You're, holding it up like Simba or whatever from The Lion King. What was the experience like? How did they make it? Walk us through the 10 minutes beforehand.
Yeah, so they've 2 different styles that you can do it. One is you can go up to their private room and do it one-on-one or one on however many people you are, and get a full, speech and presentation and kind of brewer's cup action. I think there's a video involved with that too. So you can do it that way. I opted not to. I just did it cafe service. And the reason I opted not to is I had kind of gotten the gist of what that experience was upstairs in the private room already. And had gotten that through a different coffee experience. I was there for the week. And so I just had a regular cafe service experience and then just sat in the cafe amongst a, room full of people eating and drinking and doing their things and enjoyed this coffee. And it was...
What was the recipe? How did they brew it?
They brewed it with a Mugen, with a Hario Mugen, and then a switch base. And so it was an immersion style brew. It was 2 pours and I think 16 grams of coffee to 250, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I didn't write down the recipe, but 2 pours. It was about 3 minute, maybe a little over 3 minute. It's great. Super floral, super sweet, layered cup. Drank it right down to the last drop. Tasted very similar to the BOP experience, having it in BOP during that time. So I think the roasting was done very well. The execution of the cup itself was done really well. And I think it's pretty cool to think that coffee is, reaching new heights and able to begin to find footing in the market in this sort of luxury threshold or luxury category. That's part of why I bought the cup, is to support this new sort of frontier or this new pursuit in the world of coffee. And, we see it in whiskey, we see it in wine, we see it everywhere else in the world. I was in a bar just maybe 4 days before this. And on the menu, they had a CL of whiskey, not an ounce. A CL, I think, is 1/3 of an ounce. A CL of whiskey for 2,000 euros.
Oh, wow.
And, I'm thinking that's like a sip, right? Like, let's get my lips wet type of amount. I got 8 ounces of the best coffee in the world for $1,000, and I guarantee you it's a much nicer drinking experience than that little bit of whiskey for that amount. And I think it's so exciting to see coffee develop and take form and take shape, both through the WBC and through these other competition outlets that are driving and adding value to the industry. And I just wanted to be vocal in my support of that. Nice. Even though I've tried the coffee before, I've had it before, I've had the experience, different experience, obviously, to the one I had that day, but wanted to be vocal in my support of that.
While you were at the cafe, were people coming in and asking questions about the coffee itself? Like, did they hear about the price tag? Did they see it on social media? I'm wondering if it's creating curiosity and that's a good thing, or is it a different reaction where people are kind of maybe not disgusted, but like, can't believe coffee, where's my $4 cup of coffee, not my $400 cup of coffee?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know if anybody was coming in and asking about it, but it was definitely a busy cafe environment. It was hopping in there all day, nice food program, nice beverage program, and good quick turnaround of beverages and food. And so it's busy in there, but I don't think it's a bunch of people coming in asking about this coffee specifically, maybe in the early days of them opening, but this would have been 3 months after that price tag. I think it kind of normalized on their perspective. I could be wrong, but.
Well, I think it's great that you went and tried it and put your money where your mouth is, literally. And I think that's important because you have to understand, if you're not selling this coffee, but if you're selling green coffee at different price points, understanding how that is as a consumer.
Yeah, right. And then I think too, at a certain point, it's less about the consumption of the product and more about the memory. That sounds super corny, but I will remember that experience for the rest of my life, and I'll tell the story of that experience for the rest of my life, and I'll talk about it for the rest of my life. And I think for me, that justifies that creates the value that justifies that experience.
We were talking, it's funny you say that, because we were talking before this. A buddy of ours went to the World Series, so the big baseball game in Toronto, and paid $2,200 or whatever the amount was for one ticket. And I think they lost. I can't remember. But it's more of the memory than the actual, like, he was willing to pay that because he wanted a long-term memory of going there versus the true experience of it itself. So,
right. Yeah, forever you'll hold that notion or that story that you went to the World Series or you tried the $1,000 cup or whatever it might be, and
I'm surprised the card didn't get declined. That's what shocked me over the whole thing.
I remember I'm going to tap it and I'm thinking to myself, please don't get declined. Please don't get declined. Please don't get
Or maybe you were doing dishes. That's why you were there all day. You had to do the dishes to pay off your $1,000.
I think for a couple of weeks I'd have to do the dishes.
Yeah, seeing how you do dishes. Yeah, I've never seen you do dishes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, should we wrap it up or what? You got anything else you want to add?
That's it, man. It's good to see you.
Good to
see you.
A little
cloudy there, eh?
Yeah, it's kind of been on my green screen all day. I don't know what the real weather's like.
Today it snowed, or last night it snowed, but it's like plus 6, 7 degrees here. Nice sunny day. It's all going away.
There you go. This has been the actual weather here all day, and it's probably going to rain based on those clouds coming over the horizon.
Well, it looks
which
good.
is good. Which is good. I got sunburnt yesterday and don't need another sunny day.
All right, big guy. Well, thanks for the recap.
Okay.
We'll see you
Over
soon.
and out. Catch you on the next episode.
See you, buddy.